Over the years of doing Savage Garage, there were a lot of different adventures we went on, and there were a bunch of different car shows we went to. And some of the times we obviously just went for the show, but there were other times we went where we were maybe picking up a car, going to see a specific car, because we thought that would be the reason that people would watch the video that we make out of it. There was one particular time where we went to Hunt Valley Horsepower, and it's in Cockeysville, Maryland. And we were going there primarily to go see this twin turbo NSX project that Randy had. And it was a cool car, white, and it was a stick shift car, red interior, really beautiful. After we saw the NSX and everything checked out and we were happy with it, everyone went to breakfast. And while everyone was eating, I stuck around outside and I was filming some of the cars, just getting B-roll for the video that we were making. And as I'm filming B-roll, we see, of all things, a tank pull in. And it's not usually the thing you expect to see from Cars and Coffee. There were a lot of varying cars, but seeing a giant tank pull in is not the thing you expect. And the organizer, Will, he's waving it in and he's having him park it. And I'm looking at this thing like, what the why is this here? As soon as I saw it, there's always that moment when we film Savage Garage video. There's always that moment where we go, that's the title and thumbnail. And as soon as we saw it, I'm like, yep, that's what we're gonna do. We gotta feature this in the video. As soon as he's done parking the tank, the guy gets out and I say, hey, how's it going? I got my camera here and we're just talking about the tank a little bit, just making conversation. The guy who owned it, his name was Paul, and Paul owns 3 different tanks. This is one of them. And he told us that this was a 1976 Jaguar Scorpion tank. It had a Jaguar logo on it and everything, and the exhaust note on it was kind of funny. It sounded like a straight pipe turboback car. It was pretty good. And according to the owner of the Cars and Coffee, he said that this guy's a regular, comes here all the time. He does a bunch of charity events with his various tanks. And it was really in good condition. I mean, it looked like something you had just pulled out of a museum. It was nicely kept. It had all the different attachments and pieces and shovels and stuff, big tracks on it. And according to Paul, the owner, he said he's had it up to like about 50 miles an hour or so. And in order to operate this tank, your head sticks out the front of it. So it was, I think, 20 degrees out that day. It was cold. It was early in the year. And he drove that all the way from where he lived. The story with it, because he also said it was registered, which I just couldn't believe. When he first told me that, I'm like, there's no way this thing is. But he said, no, it's registered, it's a historic tag, it's 1976. And supposedly the story is he went to the DMV and he just told him he had an old big-bodied Jag outside that he was trying to register. And the DMV just didn't bother to come out and look at what it really was. And that's how it got registered. He parked the thing outside the DMV and they just never actually checked to see what the car was. I don't know if they would have actually given him plates if they knew that it was a tank, but it was a Jag. So, why not? And as soon as I get some establishing bits, I just asked him afterwards, I said, you wouldn't mind doing a little bit of filming, around the parking lot, hoping I can get him to drive it on the street or something like that. And he's like, yeah, sure. So as soon as I heard that, I called Randy and I went, listen, as soon as you get out from eating, you've got to come out here. You've got to see this tank. So he comes out. Everybody else that was eating with us comes out. We're looking at this tank. Randy talks to him for a little bit. And as soon as we get done talking and everything else, I said, hey guys, do you want to just, you want to go drive it on the street? We'll, drive it with, the SVJ, and we'll drive it with some of the other cars and we'll make a cool video. And the owner, Paul, he said, sure, no problem. And Randy got in the tank and he was checking out the insides and whatnot, but he rode in the tank while we were filming. There's a few things with Savage Garage that over the years you look at and you go, I can't believe we did this. And this is one of them, because you'd never seen a more ridiculous thing in Maryland. And you're just driving around on normal streets and there's a tank with 2 people sticking out the top of it, one of which being Randy. And he's got one of the helmets on that was inside the tank from over the years. He's just wearing this. He looks like a 12-year-old. There's an SVJ sitting directly next to it, driving down the road, and a whole bunch of other cars in a convoy. And I'm hanging out of the Lamborghini Urus that he had, filming all of this, and I'm just cackling maniacally behind the camera, trying to keep it straight because it's like 20 degrees out in the morning. And I couldn't stop laughing because it's just one of those things you look at and you go, why are we doing this? But I'm glad we're doing this, right? Like we're driving a tank on public streets and everyone's okay with it. We filmed the initial video where we were just driving on public streets, right? And we all pull over to just take a breather and go, oh wow, that was cool. And we were all expected to go our separate ways. But we get out of the car and we all kind of came to the same conclusion of, it's like 9:30 in the morning. We're kind of hungry. And right down the street from where we were, there was a McDonald's. But we all figured it's like, why not just take the tank to McDonald's? Let's all go. And nobody saw a problem with that. I sure as hell didn't, because I'm sitting there filming like, this is the greatest thing on the planet. We're gonna take this thing through the drive-thru. It's gonna be one of these viral reaction videos or something. The guy who owned it, Paul, he was very, very skilled at driving it. We're driving through this drive-thru. It barely fits. He's maneuvering it around the corners. We got 6 different people with their phones and any other camera they have, all walking behind it. And everybody else in the drive-thru is just gawking at this thing, thinking to themselves like, why did I go to this McDonald's this morning? The thing is about this tank, it is, to say the least, a bit wider than a standard F-150 or a normal sized car that McDonald's designed the drive-thru for. It was a miracle, frankly, that the thing even got past the clearance bar that they'll usually put there for trucks and cars. But the thing was way too wide, but Paul, the owner, was still able to maneuver it around. It was a good thing there wasn't any curbs or anything nearby, but it was absolutely massive. And when we initially pulled in and Randy wants to place his order, he says like, I want to get this, that, and the other from McDonald's. And they didn't bat an eye, which was the strangest thing. We didn't really see a real reaction from McDonald's until we pulled up to pay. And the lady, when she saw the tank, at first she was like, oh my gosh. And she had a smile on her face. And the whole time we were just making jokes. It's like, will you take World War II landmines? Will you take a grenade? And she's laughing her ass off about it. And then we actually pick up the food and, the same person, she ends up giving us her food and she's laughing. The people that were in the drive-thru were more angry about the tank than McDonald's. McDonald's didn't care. It was business as usual. I mean, it was just like any other car, but it was a tank. It was a lot of fun, to say the least, but when I think back to over the years of us doing Savage Garage, that was probably one of the highlights of doing it. About a year goes by after that video's out, and it did fairly well when we initially released it, and all of a sudden it started picking up traction, just out of nowhere. Like it went from like 120 or 150,000 views to 250, 500, 750, and we're like, what the hell is going on? And all of a sudden, somebody sends us a video link to a Mr. Beast React video. And they say, hey, your video, Mr. Beast reacted to it. And we click on the video, and for about all of 7 seconds, our video was in a Mr. Beast React video. And that got, I don't even remember, but it was tens of millions of views. And we looked at that and went, yeah, that's good. Over the years of doing Savage Garage, we learned that it's not just about the cars, always. It's very cool to see the Lamborghinis, different Ferraris, and different supercars having a good time. But Savage Garage, from the get-go, had always been about a whole group of friends, a garage of people having fun and goofing off and going on adventures. This was one of those instances where it wasn't the cars that made the video great. It wasn't the cars that made everybody want to click on the video. It was just the outrageousness. It was the insanity of the fact that you're taking a damn tank through a drive-thru of McDonald's. Something that, people who drive cars, go on rallies, we stop at fast food a lot because it's quick, it's convenient. So it's cool to see Lambos in a drive-thru, but it's another level to see a tank. So that was one of the things that, without being too cheeseball here, was really savage about that. And I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of people really enjoyed seeing it.
Did you know that you can search Facebook Marketplace nationally? Auto Tempest has a tool for that, but there's a couple tricks that you need to know. By now we all know that Auto Tempest is the most powerful way to shop for your next car because they allow you to compile the results from all the major listing sites into one place. But after you perform one of their nationwide searches, scroll down to these links and click on the Facebook button. Now, once you've set your results to nationwide, you can follow their instructions and it will allow you to not just limit your search to 100 or 500 miles like Facebook lets you do through their site or their mobile app, but they'll let you instantly open tabs to the entire country and help you to find exactly the car that you're looking for. I just used it to find the cheapest Ferrari GTC4 Lusso on the planet, and I traded the CarTrek R8 for it. You never know where the perfect car for your search is hiding, but we do know that Auto Tempest is the best way to track it down.